So much for joining us for your ROH and TNA post show for August 15th. Holy cow, almost back to school time in the Northeast. Already back to school time, I think, for some of our southern friends in other parts of the country. But get in those super chats. Get in. Oh, I was going to say those humper chats out of habit, but only super chats today. I was testing you guys. I was testing myself, but one thing I will tell you to do is leave a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. But best way to support us, FightfulSelect.com. If you're on Twitter, you probably saw Sean Ross Sapp on his Victory Lap tour that was going on today because AEW announced that they are going to be running a stadium show in Texas. Huge news, not only for AEW fans, not only for the promotion of AEW, but SP3, our forever champion in Athena. My goodness, her home state. So many good things happening. I would keep an eye out for that Warner deal coming down the pipeline as well. We'll have all the details for you on FightfulSelect.com. More and more contract news around the corner. Some women's contract news that just got uploaded today that made me very, very excited. And Janai Kai, who got signed to MLW. So much more to come. Oh my goodness. But we are getting full episodes of ROH again. This is not an hour or less of thrown together matches. Holy cow, we finished out these tapings strong. My goodness. What a loaded episode. Good stuff. Full extensive stories being developed, paying off here, especially with Serpentico getting to keep his mask. We're going to talk all about that and more, but SP3, what do you think tonight overall? You were saying wasn't expecting this to end at 9 on the dot Eastern. We are so back, baby, with ROH. I hope they continue this momentum. But what did you think tonight overall?
I did not expect Ring of Honor to have more wrestling content than Dynamite this week.
Yeah, the go home to Cardiff was light. It was light. I will say
it was
that.
very, very light because we had 4 video packages on that show. We had plenty of wrestling to enjoy on this show. Some really good matches on the show. I made a complaint at the beginning of the show that I wish that some of the title matches that we got would have been set up last week, seeing as 2 of the challengers got wins last week, and you could have done the same segments they did on this show on last week's show to set them up for this week. But nonetheless, I can't complain if we're getting good wrestling. We're actually getting stories being told. And I'm not going to complain when the show ends with Dustin Rose being shown. You can't have everything, sir. Then people are just gonna band against you. I'm all for heels banding together against a selfish babyface.
Against a selfish babyface. Strong words from SV3. But let's get into this episode. Matthew Hook saying, how will they film ROH Dark if it returns? That's a lot. Or how will they film ROH if Dark returns? That's a lot. That is a good question. I hope it doesn't feel like they're the same product. I'll put it that way. Because for a long time, it felt like they were the same product. Dark could just be, if it returns. I mean, those were mostly like using independent talent. It feels like we've gotten away from that in these more recent ROH tapings of some independent talent being featured that's local to the area. But for the most part, it felt like we had some roster clarity. We had a sense of who's important in stories. Dark is just like some fun matches. There were some stories on there, but the taping schedules, I don't know. I mean, the dream would be for me that ROH has its own home, right? I mean, if Dark is getting recorded before tapings, if ROH was its own thing, that would be ideal for me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I didn't hear about Dark possibly returning. I don't want it to, like you, I don't want it to be the same thing. It was ROH Dark for a lot of it, ever since they left Universal until they got this homestead in Arlington. It felt like Ring of Honor was more or less ROH Dark. So I don't want it to mix together. I do like the fact that Dark, did spotlight some independent talent, some talent that would eventually sign with AEW or even to WWE, like Athea Hale. So I'm all for that, but I don't want the two to blend together. And honestly, I keep saying it. Can Tony Khan just let ROH stay in Arlington? Can we just stay here?
I mean, selfishly, I would love for it to move back to Maryland just because I could go, because it's
That's
closer, but
that's true.
these Texas crowds have earned that stadium show, man. I'm excited. I hadn't heard about the possibility of Dark coming back either, but who knows with these negotiations on the horizon what we might see. But we saw a lot of Ring of Honor wrestling tonight, so get in those super chats. Leave a thumbs up on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We're at 115,000 strong. We appreciate you so much. But this starts with Melissa Santos interviewing Paul White ahead of the episode, and Johnny and Taya do what they do best and interrupt. And Johnny just kind of stakes his claim for wanting this world title shot against Mark Briscoe. You kind of alluded to this at the very beginning of this show. This is something that probably could have been like on last week's episode to lead into this and hype this up a little bit. I'm sure that being in one spot made it easier to pace some things out, but it's also a different animal, so they probably ended up with a little bit more supersized of an episode than maybe they were even expecting, but that gets granted, which made me so happy because SP3, our world champ, was on television tonight. That's always an exciting thing. Any thoughts on this opening segment?
I don't appreciate Johnny TV didn't give Paul White enough time to recapitulate, which is the word of the day, about his decision. They just put him on the spot, and he had to make an on-the-fly decision, getting Johnny TV an ROH world title shot. But I do appreciate that the world title shot, we got it right off the bat to open the show. That's a hot open to the show, having the Ring of Honor world champion, Mark Briscoe, with a little salt on his beard on the kick off the show. And then it led into building towards another Ring of Honor world title shot, world title matchup for next week's show. So I'm fine with if you didn't get the build for this matchup here, at least you're getting the build for the next world title match.
Agreed. It was a little weird that we finally have our world champ around and they have this open the show like that. That I will say, it is nice. It is nice to start the show with something that's exciting, but you can edit these. This was a problem on Collision a couple of weeks ago too. They said your main event is next, and it was like in the middle of the show. Stop doing that. Like, don't be lazy about your editing, man. It's so easy. But this does kick off the show, and a really fun match, too. We have Mark Briscoe winning with the J Drilla. I'm going to throw it right to you, SP3. I thought this was a lot of fun. We've got a lot to get through tonight, so I'm going to try and be a little bit more concise in my analysis. But Johnny TV, super veteran, can work with any style. Same with Mark Briscoe. Ty is amazing. Like, I understand why Johnny loves Taya. She just, every role that she takes on, she's so great. Having her at ringside was super fun. Nice to see Johnny showing out, and kind of fun to see him against a more serious component after that really long Dalton Castle feud. Like, I know he's deeply unserious, but it was nice to see him against somebody that was a little bit more of a straight man in this, too, as fun as all that work with Dalton was. What do you think of our opener tonight?
Always think Mark Briscoe is one of the best baby faces, and Johnny TV got to look good in this title defense, this title challenge for him. And I like the fact that he did not put his legs up for the J Driller. He took that J Driller like a stuffed power driver.
He really did. Yeah, no joke.
Yeah,
that was rough.
It did look rough on him, but Mark Briscoe picking up another victory, another successful title defense in what's shaping up to be a good, title reign for him, despite it not starting the best because, he loves to make babies and he had to do paternity leave right after winning the Ring of Honor World Championship, but he's kind of hit the ground running ever since then. Title defenses against Kyle Fletcher, against Roddy Strong, and now here against Johnny TV. Some good stuff, and I like what it led into for the rest of the night with Mark Briscoe giving us a word of the day: recapitulate.
It is so fun that he has taken this Pee Wee Herman-esque thing and incorporated it into what he's doing again. But Always great to see Mark Briscoe around. Very nice to see our world champ on some tapings here. But Shane Monster saying, TMDK, that's me, baby. I got more Robbie Eagles today. Gonna see TMDK live at Capital Collision as well. A whole bunch of them. All of them? All of the non-Australia crew, I think. SB321 Contact. How are the tip touchers doing?
Always good. The tip
Better than
touchers.
Griff Garrison. More, we're going to hold it this entire chat. More Leo high-speed matches with the 70s dirtbag Blake, please. More workhorse men, beef men, please. Workhorse beef men. Very, very nice.
I love that.
Feel free to touch tips in the chat. I'll tell you what, this tip touching, Griff Garrison may not have obliged, but I had people on my Friday show, on the SmackDown post show, type in these emojis into the chat, and it popped me so huge. I'm such a fan of those guys. Made me so happy. And of all the merch issues that they have in AEW, the thing with the tip touching is you can just have regular foam fingers and just...
Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful. It writes itself. You don't have to go out of your way at all. But some good stuff in this episode. We're going to get into more of it. See, this is what we love to see. We love some tip touching. I will say, I forget what show it was, but we had people just doing one and then the other one. Like someone would type one side and the person below them would type the other. Oh, it makes me so happy. I like it when our chat is in on the bits, people. But we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But after our world title match, we have a nice vignette for Robbie Eagles ahead of his match with Atlantis Jr., which was great. Love people getting to learn a little bit more about Robbie Eagles. So much of what you need to know about Robbie Eagles is what you see in the ring. Honest to God, we're going to talk about that match next because it was really, really, really fun. But Robbie getting to talk a little bit about who he is, him calling it Rob of Honor. I liked on social media and here. This was a nice vignette, but this match, I love Robbie Eagles, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, the blend of his technical ability and his high flying ability against somebody like Atlantis Jr. is just great. Like, they had such good chemistry. Robbie's strength, to me, part of it is just in his versatility and what he can do. Atlantis Jr. retaining here with the La Atlantida. Sorry, I suck. I'm dyslexic and very white, so my apologies. But I thought this was a really fun match. I thought for sure he was going to be going after that Pure Championship, but I guess that went away when Wheeler was the one to drop it. But I would love to see more of Robbie Eagles in the Pure picture. I think he's probably just at these tapings for the times that he's here in America, but really love this. Soul of PWA. If you don't have your eyes on PWA, please check it out. A fantastic. Calling it an indie out of Australia feels so misaligned with how we view independent wrestling here in America, because it's so fewer and further between the amount of promotions, the amount of reps for these guys and gals. So it's very, very, very high quality independent wrestling in Australia. But Robbie has that Soul of PWA championship. Fantastic talent. I had a lot of fun with this match. That's no surprise to anybody. I'm a TMDK gal, but I thought this was great. And I'm not as familiar with Atlantis Jr., so getting to see more of what he's capable of too was really nice. What did you think of this vignette from Robbie and the match that we got after?
Robbie has always been a very underrated talker. I think that his ability to kind of come across, especially as he's gained his confidence, because I did like an interview back with him in 2019 when he first came to New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was part of the Bullet Club, and he didn't really have that confidence that he has now in everything he's saying. He knows who he is, and he knows how to get that across to the audience watching. So I very much enjoyed the promo, and then the matchup was even better because it was a nice little kind of, you saw the two guys style where, you know, Atlantis Jr. doesn't really have like the prototypical flippy lucha libre style.
Yes.
He's very technical to go along with his lucha libre stylings, and then you have Robbie, who's really a hybrid where he could do the high flying. He's very fast in the ring, but he's also a great technician as well. So those styles really meshed together very well, and it made for a good matchup. And it made sense that Atlantis Jr. had to use a submission to beat the technician. So I love how everything in the storytelling and the psychology of the matchup, it made sense in the end with how he pulled off the victory with the Argentinian backbreaker is the original name. I don't know what Atlantis Jr. calls it, but I like Ian Riccaboni calling it by its original name there. So that was a nice touch as well. But really strong matchup. I would say it's either between this or another matchup on this card for the best match that we saw, but two really, really good matches on the show today, and this was one of them.
Yeah, this was excellent. This was right up my alley. Cooler nickname, Sniper of the Skies or Limb Reaper?
Oh, the Limb Reaper, for sure.
Right, it's just so cold. It's so cold. I love it. I love it. Super fun match. Super fun match. Definitely worth checking out. This was a bigger episode than we get, but if you're just looking to go back and grab something real quick, this is in the top 3 for me for the night for sure. So some good stuff there. But we circle back here to Lio Rush and Blake Christian. The chat calling him like 70s porn star Blake Christian was fantastic, but man, these two are just destined to fight for the rest of their lives. They're two of those guys that I think are meant to wrestle each other forever and ever and ever. Lio Rush winning with the rebound stutter. So excited that he's back here under the AEW ROH umbrella. So excited he signed somewhere. So excited that I get to see him consistently, selfishly. Like, we've beat the drum ad nauseum that the retirement jokes are corny and lame. But, like, he also, since recommitting to being back in wrestling, was in New Japan and then had some just, like, crazy life circumstances and all this stuff. Like, him getting on my TV consistently is something that makes me happy because I love watching Lio Rush wrestle. Blake Christian's great. Like, we know this about him. He's excellent. He's excellent. Every time he has a chance to showcase what he's able to do. You want to talk about how we just had styles making a matchup? These guys, I feel like, are more in each other's worlds. This was not a contrast of styles, but this was a whole heck of a lot of fun. My eyes couldn't keep up with that. I don't know how fast they can move, that I can't even watch as quickly as they can move in the ring. So some really fun, really smooth work here. What did you think of our Blake Christian and Lio Rush match?
Yeah, these were like two clones going at each other, and they like set the tone for it at the beginning when Lio tried to do his running in the ropes misdirection, but then Blake got to the rope at the same time. So it set it up perfectly what the match was going to be. And it was just a mixture of speed, fast pace, like offense. And then you had some high flying mix into there as well. I love the fact that they knew each other so well. And you saw that in the storytelling, in the work that they were doing in the ring. And the finish, Lio using one of his signature moves, not really the final hour, the frog splash off the top rope. He got the win with the rebound stunner, the rush hour, and then rolled them up for the victory. And I love the fact of the post match. It let us know that this is probably just like the first match in a series of matches we're probably going to get in Ring of Honor, because we got a little bit of the douchebag Blake Christian that has become a top star in Game Changer Wrestling. And I've been asking for this for what feels like 18 months on Ring of Honor. I've been saying, I was like, why can't we get that guy? That guy mixed with this guy, because I feel like he's a better worker in Ring of Honor than he is in Game Changer Wrestling. But in Game Changer Wrestling, he's a much better character than he is in Ring of Honor, just being guy who does high flying and loses all the time. I want to see his in-ring work here that we've seen so well in Ring of Honor, whether it be matches with Zack Sabre Jr. or, any of the pre-show matches that he's had on pay-per-views. And then you get that character work where he is just an ultimate douchebag that the fans can just boo out the building. I need those to fuse together, and we got that here. And it was also for me being a New Japan fan, it was like we got robbed of the fact that Lio Rush wasn't in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament this year after his breakout performance last year. And you always say the retirement jokes are played out. It was played out after his performance in the Best of Super Juniors last year. Like last year, he broke out. The Japanese fans loved him. I always go back to that newborn child. Had to be only months old, and they handed the child to the little Japanese baby to him because they were so in love with Lio Rush. Like that's when it was over. I was like, no more retirement jokes. It's over. He's back. He's back in wrestling. He's found his love again, and it's great to see him here in AEW, where you could see he's got that love for professional wrestling again. So really damn good matchup. And I would say I would give this the slight edge over Atlantis Jr. and Robbie Eagles for my favorite match of the night, because these two guys have styles that just are made for one another. So this was really good, but it felt like an appetizer for what's going to be an even better matchup down the road.
I agree. I think whichever one was my favorite for tonight was whatever one I just watched. Like both really, really excellent matches. Both such different stories. You're right in that there were some spots where it just felt like they had each other scouted, like very aware of each other, which I thought was some nice storytelling in there. But the other thing that I'm excited about SP3 is like, how many times have we been saying like Lee Johnson is the only singles guy without a title? Like maybe we're starting to build people up. Like maybe this is a story that will blossom into something. So hoping that's symptomatic of what's to come. Sorry, I got the hiccups there for a second. Get in your super chats. Leave a thumbs up on this video. A lot more of you watching now than were at the beginning of the show. And we always appreciate seeing the numbers go up instead of down, especially while I'm hiccuping over here. I appreciate you guys. But we move on to a very important segment here, which is MIT. Billy Starks and your ROH Forever Champion from the great state of Texas, Athena, coming to the ring for some minion trading, and you see Billy Starks doing her sit-ups in there, and Athena cut a promo where she's bragging about mentoring the two of them, and Starks asks Athena why Lexi wasn't there, and Athena says that Nair didn't lose the title at Death Before Dishonor. So she didn't get demoted like Billy did, but Athena said that she was looking to become the longest reigning champion in ROH history, and says that every hussy backstage is afraid of her. I get it. I mean, she beat everybody on one leg, and that the pain has arrived, and then whoops, here comes Abadon. Confronting Athena in her face before Athena falls out of the ring. She clarified on social media, which we appreciate, that she left her phone backstage. So she needed to go backstage and get her phone, which, like,
that makes sense.
It. Yeah, no, I that totally checked out to me. I don't know why Abadon was attempting to scare Athena, but it obviously didn't work. So Abadon seems to have their sights set on Athena's title. Glad to see them back. Like, they were doing some really good work in that tournament and then kind of went away for a while. And I was like, oh no, don't wait until spooky season to bring them back. Like, don't make them that person, please. But not only back, but they're back in a pretty major way here, which I like to see. A couple of things that didn't make sense wins and loss wise. This was one of them. Johnny TV also hasn't been racking up so many wins. He should probably be getting a world title shot. But because this brand is refinding their footing a little bit, I'm going to choose to let that slide. But that was something that I did think about. What did you think of minion training and the return of Abadon here?
Okay, I have a couple of different problems here. First of all, Billy Starks. This was the first of many questions or complaints that didn't make any sense. Imagine me, I'm in detention, and I'm asking why the A+ student, the number one student in the class, is not in detention with me.
It's true.
Like, how dare you? How dare you ask the teacher that? I was a teacher one time. I used to teach some situational stuff to people in detention schools and juvenile delinquent centers, and that's what Athena was doing with Billy Starks, because she's a juvenile delinquent. She didn't hold her end of the bargain in keeping Athena's women's TV title, so she's got to do some sit-ups here, and then you go and question her? Like, how dare you? How dare you?
The
That's
questioning
ridiculous.
of authority here was not something that I really liked either, I gotta say.
I was purely disgusted trying to put Lexi on the same level as her when Lexi is achieving on a higher level as
Ugh.
a minion. So that was ridiculous. And then Abadon interrupting our forever champion. No, you have to take a number. You have to take a number and you have to wait your turn. And you cannot interrupt our forever champion when she's in the middle of a soliloquy, in the middle of a monologue. That is pure disrespect on the highest level. And how dare these people online? That's my third problem. How dare these people online saying that Athena was scared? She had her Apple Watch and she knew that her phone was ringing backstage.
That's it.
So she got her Apple Watch. She can't answer the phone with the Apple Watch. No, she
She's
needs
not
her phone.
the kind of champion that's gonna leave you on red. You know what I mean? She's not just like gonna just wait to respond. She has business to take care of, and she returns her text messages and emails in a timely fashion, I'm sure. So I don't know what people online are even talking about, but I will say this for Abadon: not so much a porcelain trash hussy, not so much made of porcelain. I don't think so. I think Athena might have her hands full with them, so we will see what's to come.
They might be an issue for Athena. I did not have that on my bingo card, but sign me up. Sign me up. I'm here for it. I'm here to see what's next between Athena and Abadon, which will be very, very interesting.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, we get the conglomeration backstage. Ishii and Mr. Briscoe, who we saw earlier, cutting a promo where he said it was an honor facing Jonathan Television. But he speaks out about Beast Mortos pinning him, so I like that if wrestlers are going to be appearing on different brands, that it's consistent and carries over, which is refreshing. And he says that before declaring a title shot, he said that he needed revenge on your AAA Latin American champion. So, good stuff here. Good stuff here. I think, all saw Beast Mortos doing really cool stuff, but it felt like at that pay-per-view, he really arrived as a guy that they could build ROH around. They could pair with Roosh if they want. Like, he feels like a force to be reckoned with. So him versus Mark Briscoe, let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll on that. Any thoughts?
The most important part of this whole program is that we got our word of the day. Recapitulate. This is my third time saying it on this show, and I love the fact that Mark Briscoe you could tell he was a local champion, a city champion, a state champion in Sandy Fork, Delaware, in a spelling bee, because he can always use the word of the day in a sentence. That is he's a true spelling bee god. So I got a little salt in my beard, and you're going to recapitulate. So I had to recapitulate of what I was doing, and I'm going to get out my Beast Mortal.
It's like he's in the room with me now. Uncanny, SP3, but very much looking forward to that program. Very much looking forward to that program. We get a match between Shibata and Ariya Daivari. What are they doing with the premier athletes? What are they doing?
I think they set up the premier athletes perfectly for their promo later in the night, where I was like, didn't y'all just lose? Like, what are we complaining about?
So Shibata pretty handily in a Juji Katami, like very fast, not very fast, but like fast enough.
And this comes a week after Tomohiro Ishii did the same thing to Tony Nese. And y'all lost on Collision to Hologram and Darby Allin. Like, every time I see y'all lose. Unless it's against guys who don't get entrances, who are local talent and are already in the ring. You usually lose. Y'all, that's what y'all here for. Y'all usually lose. So how y'all complaining about anyone else getting a title shot? That's like the Pistons complaining about not being in the NBA Finals, or the Jets complaining about not being in the Super Bowl. Like, what? What? You don't deserve to be here. What are we talking about?
An extremely fair point, and that if you're constantly losing, you probably shouldn't be sniffing around too many important things on the show. But later we do get Paul White revealing that Beast Mortos will be challenging for that world title against Mark Briscoe. Tony Nese and Ariya Daivari interrupt, as you were saying, and said that they had been handed title shots while the premier athletes had been ignored. And White points out that they lost, much like you just did. But Nese versus Leo Rush should hoop, so that should be fun.
Reason.
But
it's for good reason. It's like one of those like Twitter accounts that has like no profile picture, and then they're complaining about Beyonce's Twitter not responding to them. Like, what?
Yeah. Or they'll like troll Sean, and then Sean has an extensive gifts folder, and he'll bookmark your tweets. I just sit back and laugh because
when he's proven right, it's like
that happens like a lot, and people never like to learn, but it's fun.
Don't be that. Don't do that, premier athletes. I enjoy your work, but
I know.
Please make sense.
And also, like, my kingdom for Josh Wood's victory end story on ROH television, please.
I'm here for all of that. I do like the fact that Shibata has really taken to all the teachings that he got from the Von Erich family on using the Iron Claw. And he does the Iron Claw into a cross arm breaker.
So,
like, okay.
So, this is actually a great segue, because on the ROH page, you now have the Von Erichs and MXM got added, and they're all doing like the juxtaposition of them being above and below each other, of MXM doing their like poses, and the Von Erichs doing like the claws and like a tip of the cowboy hat or whatever. I was like, I love wrestling. I love wrestling so much.
They need to put them all in a row of the Von Erichs like this. You got the Dark Order who are like this. And then you got MXN who are like this.
It's perfect.
ROH
is for fun hand gestures. But
they're for hand jobs.
They're there. It is. It's a hand job. It is. They get paid for it. So it's a job with their hands. It's a hand job. They would never use such double entendres, MXM, but they're backstage cutting a promo, and they're interrupted by Griff, Garrison, and Maria Kanellis, and I had the same thought.
Speaking of hand jobs.
I had the same thought that you did of, did we manifest yet another thing on ROH programming? Because I was about to check what like lunar cycle we're in, because we're getting really good at this. But we get Maria, who presented the offer of a faction here, much like we had been predicting. And because they are such fine, upstanding gentlemen who are also models and also enter frame in the most fun ways possible, they offer to touch tips with Griff Garrison, but he just smooshes the tips. Which, look, I'm a lady, I don't know, but from what I'm told, that's not, I don't think that's what you're supposed to do with tips.
He jerked the tip. He gripped the tip.
He did.
What? He has no tip etiquette. This is ridiculous. It's just the tip. Just the tip. They all they wanted to do was just touch tips. That's all they need. That's all Griff needed to do, and he could have found himself in the elite paradise of the runway of honor. But he just had to grip that tip. He saw that tip, and he just wanted to. He just wanted to that tip, and you don't do that. Let me tell the ladies. Let me tell the gentlemen out there. You know, the gentlemen who like to be around tips. Like you don't just grab it. You don't have to vice grip the tip.
Absolutely not. That does not, from what I've heard, that's just not the way to go about business. It's detrimental. You don't do this. You don't
What
just.
are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? No tip etiquette. No
What
tip
I learned
etiquette.
is Griff Garrison doesn't know hand jobs. That's what I learned because he doesn't. He did a terrible job today, and it wasn't a hand job.
Imagine what he does to his own tip.
I'm not gonna, because it would bring me so much sadness. Leave a thumbs up. We're having fun here. We've got double entendre for you. But Griff Garrison, because he's an idiot, Griff, because he's a tip
Griff the grip.
snatcher. Griff the grip. Yep. He's also a big fat loser because he didn't listen to Mansoor and Mason. All he had to do was touch tips, but because he was too busy trying to snatch them, he loses his match, which of course is for this mask that we've been fighting over for 953 years. But Serpentico wins over Griff Garrison via frog splash. A lot of ref interference in this. Some chair shots that went both ways. One thing, Ian Riccaboni goes, both of them hurting below the belt at this point in the match, which popped me huge. What a fantastic turn of phrase, as Ian Riccaboni is prone to. But this was fun. It was kind of nice to see Griff Garrison in a singles match with some meat on the bone where he was able to show what he can do. When he was in the promo with MXM, tip snatching as he might be, I was like, he's kind of a big dude. Like, he was certainly not eye to eye with Mason, but he's tall. Like, he's got some more size to him that I think I realized. He has something. I think if he just keeps leaning into it, if he's just a little bit more assertive with what he's doing, I think there's really something in there that I think is going to blossom, that we're starting to see come out a little bit more. Also, just, I know Maria was dealing with some health issues. We're so glad that she's okay, but just such a breath of fresh air, just such a wonderful presence on ROH. She's become so integral to this specific brand. When she's gone, it feels weird. It feels like Mom left. She went out for groceries and never came back, which is so sad. But I like that we got to see Griff show out. I'm glad that we got a blow off to this story. Serpentico, you know, they can't all be John Cruz, as we like to say on this show, but always a fantastic in-ring storyteller, and pulling a lot of really great stuff out of Griff Garrison here as well. But I think if Griff just keeps kind of leaning into who he is, I think we're going to see some really cool stuff out of him in the future. What did you think of the blow-off of our Maskety Mask story?
I was thoroughly shocked when we got a referee bump. I was like, when was the last time we saw a referee bump on ROH TV? Like, it's been a minute. It was just weird. It felt like a House of Torture match for a little bit when the referee was down. And we got we got Angelico coming out with the steel chair. We had the chair assisted low blow. We had the chair in the corner and stuff like that. But I was glad we got the result, because I honestly thought for a second there that they were going to give Griff Garrison the win in this one. But I like the fact that Serpentico got the win. He got his mask back. You can finally, tie this with the bow and move on. Griff Garrison can see if he can work on his tip touching ability and teaming up with MXM Collection. He needs some tip etiquette classes, and he needs to be done with Serpentico and Angelico for now, and they can move on and maybe possibly move up into the tag team ranks a little bit more, picking up some victories over there. So I was glad that this felt like a blow off to this, what was it, 8-month storyline. It still is shorter time than Chris Jericho versus Hook.
February that shit started. February. Guys, get in your super chats. Leave a thumbs up on this video. Leave wonderful chats like this from Beat Normus, who says, hello, SP3 and Minion 690069. That's me. And all of the bruvs, if my guy Beef isn't in Meat Mayhem, I'm going to lose my meaty mind. I may even cry a little. Well, we are going to talk about Beef shortly. I have long
Beef.
said that Meat Mayhem, Meat Madness, whatever you want to call it, should be March Madness. And it should be a social media thing of just meat matches. And it should be a
Yes.
full bracket. Come on, how fun would that be? That would be, if
There's a
that
lot
was
of
like
meat
a
in there.
Max exclusive, if it was March Madness and you had like nerds doing commentary, oh my god, it would be so much. Like Jake Something's in it. You get meat from all over the world. Oh, it would be so great. I stand by that. That's what they should do with that. But we're going to talk about beef in a second here. Closing the loop on Griff Garrison. I feel like this guy might be a face. A comedic heel, I think, could work for him. But watching him today, I was like, there's something easy to root for about this guy. Between his like magnetic charisma and the look, I was like, I wonder if what's missing with this guy is that he's actually just meant to be more of a baby face. Like, I wanted him to have the comeback in this. And that's not because he did a bad job as a heel. It just, I was kind of like finding myself on the side of wanting to root for him. So maybe he's
That's
just
fair.
nice.
Yeah, maybe he's just nice in real life. He's still, even though I think he's been in AEW for 3-4 years now, he still feels like he is in his Sexton Hardcastle
A little bit.
run.
A
Like
little bit, yeah.
he's not yet Edge of his Adam Copeland revolution. Or if he is Edge, he's still Edge in 1998. Not even Edge in 1999 when he teams up with Christian and we start to see him rise and evolve. He's still in that type of like evolution of his Pokemon levels. So he's Edge in 1998 at best, and I thought that's what we saw in this matchup. This is one of his like better showings in the singles division. So I do agree with you. There is something about him that makes you want to kind of root for him.
If your castle isn't Dalton or isn't getting hard, BlueChew.com, code FIGHTFUL, same active ingredients as Viagra, etc. etc.
Sex Castle.
Saying, Kate, you don't know how happy you just made me. Come on, that would be so much fun. Meat Madness being a March Madness thing? Oh, meat from every promotion. Let Big E do commentary everywhere. For it. Open the forbidden door. He deserves it. He deserves it. We got Harley Cameron versus Viva Vaughn winning with the Shining Wizard. Good stuff. Harley Cameron continuing to move her in-ring career along. Less offensive than her beating Trisha Dora, who I still don't know why she's not on television. Don't get me started. But Viva Vaughn also, this is just because of my knowledge of the landscape, like a little too established to be taking L's to Harley Cameron, but I get what they're doing for their own program. Like I understand that what they're telling me is not what I know in my head, but Harley Cameron, I said, could be like AEW's Carmella, and the more I see her, the more confident I feel in that assertion. Because she has something that is so special and unique to her, which I always felt like Carmella did. Like, nobody was doing what she was doing. I felt like Bunny had it in AEW, but she's no longer there. And I think Harley Cameron stepping into that role of extremely character-driven heel who can hold her own in the ring, but has this alley that is just like Harley Cameron's alley, is something that could be really good for the product. And ROH is the perfect testing ground for such a thing. Not a lot to write home about on this, but what did you think of what we got?
That's a fabulous comparison, Carmella and the Bunny to Harley Cameron, because I do agree. I see what you're talking about there. The biggest takeaway that I got from this matchup was I felt like this was the most that we got to see of Viva Van, like on offense, because she usually is facing one of like the bigger stars, whether it be like a Marina Shafir, a Layla Hirsch, or an Athena on Ring of Honor television. We got to see that she is a very skilled performer here, and she was able to hold her own against Harley Cameron until Harley pulled out a different move. I don't think I've seen her win with the Shining Wizard, but she got the win here with the Shining Wizard, and we're seeing Harley Cameron, who still is like less than 30 matches into her whole career, but she looks so good for someone this early in her career, and I've been impressed with her every time she's been in the ring.
Yeah, we've seen it week over week that she's been in the ring. Like, one thing that's really fun to watch someone in the stage of their career is seeing them put it together. Like, that's one of the few things I like about reviewing NXT is when you have people that are just starting out, you can kind of see, like, okay, I get match pacing, I get selling, I get, like, you can see them starting to put that all together. And I feel like from what we've seen in front of the camera, Harley Cameron's doing that pretty quickly, and that's awesome. Love that for her. Guys, get in those super chats because we already talked about the next match. We already talked about Griff, Garrison, and Serpentico. We already talked about MIT, okay? But we have not yet talked about Anthony Henry and Beef defeating Vinny Massaro and Dante Leon with a really, really nice straight jacket German suplex from Henry on Leon. I yield my time to you because Beef.
Beef, my favorite wrestler on Ring of Honor television. I told you guys the first week he showed up. I told you guys last week that last week got deducted points because there was no beef on my screen, and I got some beef on my screen. So all the points that were,
I believe,
all the points and stars that was deducted from last week is put on this week. This is an 8 out of 10 show because we got beef on it, and man, I'm all here for beef. I'm all here for beef. He is like a skinnier, taller Otis in a lot of ways. Like his energy in the ring is very reminiscent of Otis. And like if you're gonna go in evolutions, he's Otis and Heavy Machinery type energy to him. So I like Beef a lot, and I see the vision of Tony Khan in the future of the workhorse Beefmen being our ROH 6-man tag team champions when JD Drake is finally back. And I like that they're putting it all together. And I like the fact that cousin second removed, we got some little tidbits of the storytelling on commentary explaining us that he's a cousin removed, which I'm gonna assume that means that Anthony Henry is cousins to Beef's mother Beef. So Mama Beef is really his first cousin, and Beef is once removed, so he's the second cousin. So I'm understanding the family dynamics, the family tree, the Beef bloodline. We're building the Beef bloodline here, and I'm all here for the cinema of the Beef bloodline.
So if this is the Beef bloodline, and the bloodline has the Brahma Bull, this would be the Mama Bull, would be Mama Beef, right?
Mama Beef, Mama Bull. Look at your boy now, Mama Beef. Look at your boy now.
I'm in. What can we say about Anthony Henry that we haven't said before? Like, this guy is fantastic in the ring. I would still love to, as much as I love Beef and having fun with Beef, I would love to see him maybe looking at that pure title, because like him and Lee Moriarty signed me up any day of the week and every day of the week for that. I think that could be extremely fun. So I will take it. But speaking of your pure championship, Lee Moriarty putting away Action Andretti as one would expect with that Border City stretch. Paul White, Christopher Daniels, and Jerry Lynn, your judges, and also your board of directors, I believe. So good stuff there.
So many roles.
Oh my gosh, just the most basic things in the world, SP3, of like having a pure championship defended on television. It doesn't take much to make me happy. I always feel like it does. I feel like I'm being cranky out here, but I'm not. I just want my champions around. I love pure wrestling. I was so excited to see this. I don't know what they're doing with Action Andretti, and I don't know if they know what they're doing with Action Andretti, which makes me a little bit worried, because certainly feels like Top Flight has, their flight attendant has moved into something different, that it's not like sometimes we're a tag team, sometimes we're a trio. Never know. Like, it feels like they are now an established act that has the parts that they want it, and that might not include Action Andretti anymore. There's something there with this kid. It's very obvious. There's a reason Jericho picked him for the angle that he was in. But they need to set him on a track. And I'm not sure the pure match was like the best way to go about business with this. Not that he did poorly, but like
No.
it's a different animal than traditional matches, and I don't know if that came across. Like there's such added psychology and stuff in this. And I don't know if that was like the strong suit for him on this episode. So but certainly not bad. I just, you know me, I'm a pure sicko, so I like to see these matches utilized to their full potential, and I felt like that maybe wasn't the case today.
I enjoyed the storytelling of the realizing that Action Andretti didn't have experience in this type of matchup and making him use all his rope breaks early on, which he took advantage of with the finish when he got the Border City stretch on and Action got to the ropes, and then he was forced to tap out because he didn't have any rope breaks left. So I enjoy that part of the story. I was just confused because I was pretty sure after that promo last week that it was supposed to be a Ring of Honor pure championship matchup. And then I'm pretty sure commentary and the ring announcer said this was a proving ground matchup. So I was just confused on that. I was like, oh, okay. So this is a proving ground match. So this
Ground matchup according to my notes. Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, oh, so if he would have went 10 minutes, he could have got a real title shot. But I was just confused on that because I'm pretty sure the promo last week was he was challenging him to defend the pure championship here. But hey, nonetheless, Lee Moriarty looking good. I will say, not to give any spoilers, but if you don't want spoilers, you could pause here and then press live. But I did see a picture of Rampage tomorrow, and it seems like we're getting a top flight faction because I saw a picture of Darius, Dante, and Action Andretti all in flight attendant suits.
Okay, I saw that picture, but I didn't take note that Action Andretti was in it. So pick up.
He was like, he's not here. Leo Rush was the only one who didn't have the flight attendant suit. I was like, you had me with Layla Gray as the flight attendant. You might have already jumped the shark with this by putting everybody in flight attendant suits.
Pick a lane for these guys. I am so sick and tired of they're a 6-man, they're a tag team, they have occasional singles matches. Like, I'm so frustrated with the AEW tag division because my kingdom for a time that anybody but the 3 teams that are not already in this picture felt important. Like, where's Private Party? Where's Butcher and Blade? Where's the Workhorsemen? Where's, like, put MXM in there now. Like, where are these tag teams? Iron Savages. Like, where are the tag teams that we said this tag team division had such a bright future because of? Like, the Bucks not defending, ain't it? I get it from the story perspective. They're not even telling the story of the EVPs abusing their power to avoid matches, despite the fact that the Acclaim still had this match for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So that the DQ with FTR, like, these are the same teams that always feel important. And quite frankly, FTR is doing the most. They're the ones on Collision working with the younger teams. Like, and established teams that just haven't had any breathing room, like your Private Parties. Like, it is so frustrating because it was like the strongest point of AEW, and it feels like that is now trickled down to ROH. You just said that they're on Rampage tomorrow and that there's a faction and all of them are in it. How is Top Flight not like a contender in the AEW tag division after the way that they came in, now that they're finally healthy? Like, pick a fucking lane. That's all I'm saying.
I just don't get it at all. And if you were going to do that finish on Dynamite with the Acclaim and the Young Bucks, why couldn't we have done this match like a month ago? So then it made sense for the Acclaim to have a beef with FTR, because that's all they've cared about since Blood and Guts. Since Blood and Guts, they've been more concerned with FTR than even having a title match, which they won back in June. I'm sorry, that is 2 months after.
And then June!
And then you put it on their show last night in the dead spot before the main event, which was always the biggest complaint about the women's division is, oh, you always have the women's division at 9:20, 9:30, and it's right before the main event. And you put a matchup you've been building since May in that spot. What are we doing?
And it has not been. I wouldn't like the story, but they haven't even done the work to tell the story of the Young Bucks abusing their power to avoid this for this many months. Yep. Woof. And look, I am done with the Acclaimed right now. I am bored as hell and waiting for a Bowen singles run. But even if I wasn't, it's the same three teams that are just monopolizing this picture. Like, it would be like if only Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega and MJF got to be in the top of the card. Like, just three former champions and nobody else gets to play. Like, it's so frustrating. So frustrating. But kudos to FTR, because they're doing a ton of work on Collision that's showcasing the rest of the tag division.
Working with the Outrunners way too long on Collision. That match was way too long. I'm sorry. I love the Outrunners. It
was way too long, and I loved every second of it. It made no sense that it went on that long, and I loved it. But we get a backstage from Layla Hirsch where she said that whenever she has her back against the wall, she always gets back up. So feels like maybe this injury is not that severe, which is good. Like, she's missed in the singles division. I absolutely adore her wrestling, but if she's still on TV in a sense, that means she's probably coming back sooner than later, which is good. Any thoughts that you want to jump in on that?
I just want to see Layla Hirsch back, because coming off of that matchup with Diamante, she feels like someone who's ready for a Ring of Honor Women's World Title matchup, preferably on pay-per-view. But I know that Billy has that kind of all sealed up for December and Final Battle. This is why we need another pay-per-view. We need another pay-per-view between July and December. Bring back Glory by Honor, Tony.
There's just so many pay-per-views just in general, though.
But Ring of Honor only has 3. It only has 3.
I know.
Come on.
And honestly, an ROH Big 4 would be good. Like,
yeah.
Big 4 would be good, but there's just like a lot of pay-per-views in general.
I know.
We're coming down the home stretch, guys. Get in those super chats. Leave a thumbs up on this video. On the back end of the show, you are going to have Cresta and Joel Pearl bringing you all of the TNA deliciousness you could ever want, despite what maybe some weirdos online have said. But a great interview with Steve Maclin that dropped earlier today with Joel Pearl. But they're going to talk to you. Nick Nemeth was defending his title today as well. So a couple of world champions defending on TV. Love that for us.
Indeed.
But we finish up our show with the 6-man championship match. Look at all the championship matches that we got today. And ironically, neither of the women's ones were defended. We are so used to the women dominating the show, but we had your world title match, we had your TV title match, we had your pure proving ground match, we got your tag team, or your 6-man tag team titles defended here with Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs versus Cage of Agony. You get a retention here from Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs. Nice to see the Von Erichs back in action. No Sammy Guevara to be found. I don't know what is next for him. I guess we will see. But a fun way to close the show. Dustin in Texas makes sense. I'm wondering if his retirement match is going to be at this big stadium show. I was thinking about that earlier. But also nice to see Cage of Agony back in action. Another one that's like, what are we doing, though? Like, is Brian Cage a singles wrestler? Are they a trio? What is the deal with that? But a fun way to close out the show. If you weren't going to close out with your world title match, at least they closed out with another title match. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it led to the big angle that I talked about earlier, where we didn't get a finish early. We got a DQ finish because the Dark Order have apparently aligned with the Undisputed Kingdom in hating on Dustin Rhodes and the fact that Dustin Rhodes is not satisfied He won his first title in ROH and AEW, and he's not satisfied with it. He wants tag team titles. He wants all the titles in the world. So Undisputed Kingdom teamed up with Dark Order, got involved here, caused the disqualification. They jumped the Von Erichs and Dustin Rhodes, led to Sammy Guevara coming out. I thought we were going to get another, Sammy saves the day type segment, but no, the heels got the advantage. I was actually surprised. I was like, there's not a baby face that's going to come out and make the save and just kibosh all the heat for the heels here. No, the heels are standing tall to end the show. I was like, bravo, Tony. I actually feels like we have an episodic television show that we have some heels. We have some heels that are capable of coming out with a plan and executing it very well. I was quite surprised by that. I was just waiting. I was like, how much time is left in the show? Where's Mark Briscoe? Where's the conglomeration? I swear somebody's gonna come out here and make the save. No, we got what was it, Fiego and Helico and Serpentico, and then they got laid out as well. So I was like, very well done, making Cage of Agony, Dark Order, and Undisputed Kingdom look good here. Sammy got to show that he has the back of Dustin and Von Erich, so there was good storytelling with the run-ins, with the people making the save. So I thought this was a well-done angle to close the show. I'm just waiting to see what's going to be next. Are we going to have some type of alliance with these three different stables here, or are they just about the hating on Dustin Rhodes, which I don't mind. Because Dustin is selfish.
Big words from you, but not gonna lie, I did not see that part of the angle. My stream must have cut out or something. I'm not kidding. I didn't see it. My play just cut. Maybe because I switched rooms to come in here, but I'm really glad you recapped that because my stream completely missed it. It must have just frozen when I switched to come in and set up my stuff. That's what happens when ROH actually ends at 9 o'clock proper.
So what did you see last with them doing like the Von Erich?
Yeah, 100%.
And you just assumed they did the claw, they got the win, and then
we were going home on that, which would have made sense in Texas, honestly. So much to my delight, the heels I found out with the rest of y'all, quite frankly. So some good stuff. But if these episodes end at 9 p.m., we'll be starting this post show at 9:05 proper again because we are actually getting full creative efforts. We'll see if it sustains past these tapings, but it's been really refreshing to have stories that are built outside of the title, stories that are built into the title pictures. Really getting some consistency in this product has been a breath of fresh air, and just having our champions on the show again. It's such simple stuff, and I think with ROH especially, the simplest stuff is always what works the best. It's the thing, SP3, that keeps you hooked. And speaking of hooks, I'm going to tell you all about Hooked in Voiceovers. Matthew Hook's a great supporter of our show. He's always supporting us on Tuesday nights. We want to give him a little extra love on this beautiful Thursday night and tell you all about Hooked in Voiceovers at hookedinvoiceovers.com. Matthew Hook's doing a wonderful voiceover work from world-renowned brands, internationally known brands, nationally known brands everywhere. You can go to his website. He's got his commercial demo up. He's got his narration demo up for you at hookedinvoiceovers.com. He also does a ton of work outside of the actual voice part of it. He does a lot of the production stuff. He can do a bunch of different vocal styles. He's got you covered for like all of your voiceover needs, not just the actual talent aspect. So head over to hookedinvoiceovers.com. Support Matthew Hooks. He's always so supportive of us. Find him on social media as well. Just a gem of a human being, and we appreciate his support tonight and every night that he tunes into our stuff, which is quite frequent. Look at our chat. I love our chat. We're touching tips in the chat. They're throwing up hook emojis. We love to see it. Glad Matthew Hooks is not caught in the Jericho vortex, okay? That makes me happy that we got one hook out of the Jericho vortex, but we're going to bring in Joel and Cresta to take over for your TNA post show. Very excited to pass this off to them. Hot off of Joel's interview with Steve Maclin.
Oh, hey, that's me.
Earlier today, and the beautiful Cresta. Cresta, am I going to be seeing you at Grand Slam?
Hopefully, that's the plan. Grand Slam Family.
Let's go. Let's go. But they've got a lot to talk to you about on the TNA front. We had a good episode of ROH. The tapings have been very beneficial. It'll be nice to see if they sustain that effort coming out of these stationary tapings. But how was TNA?
Joel, you want to go first?
We're out of time.
Joel, when you were out last week, Cresta was like, well, this was...
She turned into you.
That happened, and we were like, even when Joel's not here, he's here with us in spirit.
The spirit
and I was
of
like,
Joel lives on.
Whew, if you had been here, like if that's what Cresta was saying, who always comes in and is like, I am sports entertained, I am so happy. If you can shenan once, you can shenan again. Like, if that's what we were getting from Cresta, who's normally in such a good mood, can't imagine how sick you must have been, how
that's crazy.
ill you must have been last week.
Two-show Doro.
So yeah, I was. Thank you to my toddler, got me sick. But I will say this: it does happen. I was very active in our Fightful Select Discord, best $5 in the business, because I was able to get my thoughts off on last week's show. And I will say, if you're gonna retcon a squid, whew, that was not the way to do it.
Retcon a squid.
And that was
I can't wait to talk to you about your thoughts on that. Cause I was like, wait a minute, you know what? Wrestling, things just happen.
Things do happen.
Things do happen.
I don't know whose call it was to say goodbye to that, but I think they made a mistake.
They inked it away.
I should have asked.
Probably Gresham be like, I don't want to do this anymore.
But it was the best.
I mean, it was something that was getting done. And if you were just going to X-nay on the squid A, just pretending like it didn't happen, that's not the way to do it. That's just, I don't know. I don't.
Oh my God.
Men in Black Flash.
Yeah, literally.
That's what it was. It's like, oh, I woke up and I don't remember the last 5 months. I'm like, well, I do. And I said good things about this. And now you're telling me to forget about it? What are we doing? What are we doing here? And you know who I feel especially bad for? Sorry, now I'm on my rant. I feel bad for Kushida. This was the first storyline that he had been a part of since he got re-signed to TNA Wrestling. And this is what they did to him. They did nothing. They painted him up as Hakushi for one match because they couldn't do the payoff in Montreal because Gresham couldn't make it. And instead of them running it back and giving him the body paint and retrying to do it, they just said, nah, go back to being the time splitter, you old scamp. And then they sent him out there to go do the match.
Was that the forget sound? Was that the forget?
I mean, it wasn't
tousling the hair.
It wasn't a very good story for Kushida. I'll be honest.
It wasn't, but you know what? But you know what? What else was he up to? What else was he doing? And I felt like this had some sort of opportunity. It's more than Gresham and Kushida had been doing up until this point. At this point, like Gresham was looking for a gimmick, and they gave him a gimmick. He found a gimmick, and it wasn't awful. It was kitschy.
That's cool.
Yeah, like there was some stuff that worked, but anyway.
Octopus Inc. I get you.
Yeah.
Yes. Our better question though for you guys: do you guys have tip etiquette? Do you touch tips?
I mean, mine was we
have tip etiquette.
The thing with the tips is that us Jews. After 8 days, we handle ours.
Oh yeah,
it's true.
That's true.
It's true. Still better than what Griff Garrison did in smooshing tips tonight. But
I think I felt docking.
No, that's when you lock onto the space station and you download your data.
Right.
Hey-o!
Right, and then there's the Dutch rudder.
That's cute.
That's cute. That's so cute. Later, guys.
Have so much fun tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Enjoy the TNA post show. We're out of here.
Thanks, y'all.
It's the Collision post show from you all over again. Inappropriateness.
That's about right. Is your mic on? Are you on the wrong mic? Because it sounds like it's your room.
Oh,
your room settings and not your regular settings.
You know what? Let's check that.
I almost guarantee it's your room. Oh yeah.
It absolutely
Oh,
is. One
yeah.
moment, please.
Internal microphone. Let's go.
My microphone is not even up here, Your Honor.
Oh, amazing. What did you do? Did you unplug it?
I can see what's happening here. Let me XMM really quick.
This is amazing. This is amazing. She exits stage left. Oh, there it is. Now it's official. Oh. Emergence is going to be a very interesting show, ladies and gentlemen, and our friends beyond the binary.
Does it sound better now?
Yes, it does. You're back, baby.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. I have a monstrosity of a computer, so I have an extender cable, and sometimes my feeties kick it in the back. So
You got to get on that cable management gimmick.
it's managed, but poorly.
Yeah, you put a miss ahead of it, and that's how it's managed.
Yeah. Well, yes, actually, yes.
Oh, how are you doing? I missed you last week.
I am doing swell. I did miss you too, Joe Pearl. Anytime I work with you, guys, I need y'all to know I love Joe Pearl. He's the greatest. He's my wrestling fairy godfather. I just have to give you some flowers in this moment.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Rob Wilkins did fill in for me, did a wonderful job. Thank you again to Rob.
We always love Rob.
Yes, always. The guy that you can easily call upon whenever you need something. I am the worst. Thank you, Pal Driver.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
They're in every In the Weeds chat, and I always appreciate it. Listen, dude, tell me I'm running from the grind every single day. It's all good. Dex saying SRS should do something about the natural acoustics of this basement.
He's got to let me out of the basement first. I'm hoping to go to Grand Slam and see Kate to petition for me to get out.
And then you'll just move into Kate's basement.
Yes. I mean, no, the internet is terrible there.
That's true. Maybe they'll fix it one of these days if you move out there. Anyway, you ready to get this thing?
I am sports ready, sports entertained, sports confused. So yes.
Well, let's mass confuse the rest of them. And a 1 and a 2. Hello, friends. We're back again. It is Fightful.com. It's August 15th, 2024. I am at Joel Pearl, and it's time for your TNA Impact post show. As always, the one and only Cresta Star is here. She's here more than I am because last week I was away. Rob Wilkins filled in, did a wonderful job, but Cresta is here. And how are you?
I am fine. I'm the hardest working girl. That's a lie. That's Denise. No, that's a lie. That's Kate. Everyone works hard here at Fightful. I'm doing well. I like to be out here. I like to watch wrestling. And I hope you guys are also well in the chat. Did you enjoy TNA this evening, Joel?
On and off. There were certain things that I enjoyed. There are certain things that I could have done without. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. If you haven't already, leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to our channel here, youtube.com/Fightful. Interact with it too. If you're not in the live chat, but you want to leave a comment afterwards, go ahead and do that. Tell us about your favorite parts of tonight, whether that's Ring of Honor, whether that is TNA Wrestling. We always love to hear what y'all enjoy on the channel. If you enjoyed my interview with Steve Maclin, go watch that. If you haven't watched it yet, what's wrong with you? Love chatting with Steve Maclin. I know that the bit for a long time was that we're enemies. Now we're besties now. That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
Right?
that's how they sell it. I mean, you didn't even have to go through a barbershop window.
There are a lot of things I didn't have to go through to get that interview, and it's all the way up now on youtube.com/Fightful. Go check it out. I know that today was a very busy day, especially for AEW fans, because they did announce that All In 2025 is landing in Arlington, Texas.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw, mother, you know what? It's going to be a good time. We have all the news over on Fightful Select, the best $5 in the business. We'll talk about that and much more a little bit later. But if you want to go check out that interview with Steve Maclin, go ahead and do it. Overall tonight, didn't hate it. Like I said, some moments I did, some moments I didn't. How did you feel overall, Cresta?
This, to me, was more of a commentary-driven show than a wrestling show. And at points, commentary was Nigel McGuinness levels of hate. I thought I was watching Saturday Night Collision. Commentary was on one. Everyone who touched that commentary desk tonight, I was in stitches. At points when I thought the in-ring work was a little low, I was in stitches at commentary. Quote of the night, Tom Hannafin, what did I do to deserve this?
That's the Tom Hannafin motto. That's basically every week he comes out to do any TV show and he says, what did I do to deserve this?
I felt that. The way he said it's like when I go into work and I clock in, I'm like, what did I do to deserve this? Why did I have to be bored poor?
It's just the way it goes. By the way, if you're not poor, no, that's an awful
That's MJF.
That's an awful segue. I'm sorry. If you want to support us here on the channel, you can go ahead, donate a super chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air, or you can head over to humperchats.com. We get more of the pie over there. Cresta will tell you all the details.
Head on over to humperchats.com. Put your comment in the comment area. And remember, that's humperchats.com. Put your dollar amount in the dollar amount area, and we'll read your comment live on air. We get to keep a little bit more of the pie, like Joel said, and everyone's happy. The lights stay on. Sean Ross Sapp is happy. The Decepticons are happy. Go on over to Humper Chat. Mosey on over to humperchats.com. Yeehaw!
I have many lights turned on, and I would like to keep them on, so please donate your Humper Chats and your Super Chats as well. Let's dig in to TNA Impact, which honestly, first match of the night, you got to put up reviews. Chase U and NXT have joined the fray. For the first time, an NXT superstar will be joining X Division and the Ultimate X at Emergence. Riley Osborne, representing Chase U and NXT, does qualify, getting the win over Chris Bay, John Skyler. The match was good. The match was fine. It felt like these qualifier match tonight, both of them were just kind of there. They just existed. They weren't bad. They were inoffensive. Riley Osborne definitely got the shine that he needed because he is the odd man out in this triple threat. But overall, this was good stuff. Kazarian joined commentary. He had his what to say. We can talk about that in a few minutes. But overall, what do you think of this Riley Osborne joining up with the X Division?
I was not expecting the NXT guy to come out. Now, I know it's probably spoiled because it is pre-taped, but I don't look at it until the day of. Him winning? Come on, Riley Osborne. Now, again, if you guys have been watching the show, you know I don't really watch NXT. Not because I don't like it, just because I don't have enough time in my life to watch all that wrestling 7 days a week. I do have to say, welcome back, John Skyler. Tampa Twerps. I don't know why that popped me. The name of your new tag team, name of your new wrestling division, Tampa Twerps. I loved that. Frankie Kazarian being out there, the first things out of my mouth was why. And then for Tom Hannafin to be like, why are you out here? I was like, oh, I know what type of night this is going to be. And it set the tone. It was a good match, like you said. I just wasn't expecting Riley Osborne to win. There was a nice springboard dive onto Bay, onto Osborne, to the outs. It was so much going on in this match, but I couldn't tell you honestly, so I was laughing too hard at commentary. I have notes, but all I can remember is Kazarian just being the worst. And Matthew Raywall being like, yes, I agree.
Yeah, Raywall was on one tonight, and even Hannafin got a good dig in. He said, I'm glad that Riley Osborne is here to represent Chase U and not Duke Hudson. That was a good little dig for those who know the NXT lore. Nothing personal. It's just fun between those two. Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Zachary Wentz have already qualified for the Ultimate X, I should say. I have X Division qualifier. I don't know why I mislabeled my own notes, but
it happens.
Kazarian did.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Get through it.
I was just gonna say also, why was Kazarian talking about oiling up to get on commentary? My first note was, does he think he's Michael Nakazawa? Brother, but then I was like, was he going to interfere?
Be ready. No, you always got to be ready. That's right. You always come on, baby.
That Matt Cardona's thing always ready.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. In wrestling, you're always supposed to be ready. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're a free agent or if you're signed to a major contract. Kazarian did join the commentary booth, said he intends to win the X Division title and immediately cash it in. Option C, like he did last time with Speedball. So I do like that they're trying to at least connect the history there. And then, at the end, Osborne gets the win. He gets the shooting star press. He pins John Skyler. Chris Bay does not eat the pin. Can't say the same about his tag team partner later on, but we can get to that a little bit. Yeah, Riley Osborne joins the fray for Ultimate X at Emergence. I'm looking forward to Ultimate X. This is the first time where it feels like TNA didn't just shoehorn Ultimate X into an event like they had over the last couple of years, to be honest.
I can see that because the last couple of times it was like, well, this person was in the first Ultimate X, so they were in it. And then this guy did it 10 years later, so they're in it. Yeah, I could see it.
Even the frequency of the match was starting to get a little crazy to me. They haven't, I don't think they've run it since Hard to Kill, which is good if my memory serves. But there was a time when for a couple of years they were doing it. It felt like every other month they were running an Ultimate X match, Tag Team Ultimate X, Knockouts Ultimate X. They didn't do a heavyweight championship Ultimate X, but they were doing as many Ultimate X matches as they could because it was just something different. That's a TNA staple. I'm glad that they didn't run this as such. And like you were saying, the qualifiers are just random people that have some experience in Ultimate X getting in. They're doing qualifying matches. It's good.
This confused face is the face of, I feel like, didn't they do like the Champions Cup in an Ultimate X match where Bubba Ray won, Bully Ray won it or something, or could I be mistaken?
I think you're mistaken. Is that the Bound for Glory, the Call Your Shot gauntlet?
Yeah.
Bully Ray doing Ultimate X sounds like an absolute problem for everyone.
Now that I said it out loud, I'm like, Bully Ray doing Ultimate X, be for real.
You want to see that thing up there? Good luck.
I could see Bully Ray picking someone. Nah, that because that's not how. Never mind. Never mind. I can't reconcile it. Never mind.
Chat's already on me about that one. Nick Nemeth is back with Gia Miller. Well, he just pulled into his parking spot. It says Josh has changed tonight. He'll stand over Alexander, proving how good it is and how good he is. And that's personal because Josh went after Nick's family. Well, a little bit of foreshadowing with the standing over Josh Alexander part. We'll get to that a little bit later. Oh, do I want to touch the Matt Cardona stuff? That's 2 segments in a row.
I mean, I could do it for you.
I have feelings, though.
About him being called Matt Cordoba?
No, that part's okay. Okay. I guess we're going to do it. Santino's in the ring, and he calls out Matt Cardona. He offers Matt Cardona a proposition, and Cardona says, I'm a free agent. I don't work for you. I don't work for anybody. And I'm like, good for you, Matt Cardona. You get your money. Santino then jumps right into the comedy shtick. And I understand that this is a bit comedy because it's PCO and it's but it doesn't fit for whatever they're trying to do here because it's Santino saying like, oh, I watch a Colombo and then I know how to get you in a jail. And I'm like, well, what are we doing? What does this matter? And so he says, I'm going to give Matt Cardona a contract to face PCO in Tampa, or this is the best part, he'll prostitute. Oh, everyone reacted to that. He meant prosecute Matt Cardona and send him to jail.
No. I think he meant prostitute.
Well, I will give Santino the benefit of being a comedy actor that he was able to run with it and play with it and make it work. But man, when he walked into his own issue, and then Cardona says he'll look it over and then Santino can trust me. But like Santino's an idiot. That's really what it comes down to. But Santino was also not always, he doesn't do it for me in 2024 as an authority figure. He was brought in to get Scott off air when Scott D'Amore was the on-camera authority. And then Scott left and then Scott came back and then they were both there. And then Scott got fired and now Santino remains. And there are days where I'm just like, why? Not to the Scott thing is all played out, whatever. But I mean, why is Santino still the on-air figure? Why?
I can get what you're saying because I feel like if I had to critique it, my problem with Santino and this authority figure is that one moment he's comedy and then he's super serious and then he's comedy and then he's super serious. I can get with the mispronouncing people's names, even saying I'm going to prostitute you, Matt Cardona, because I can see the comedic effect in that. However, it's kind of hard when you need to be serious with dealing with someone like the system. And even Matt Cardona, because it does put you, he's getting worked, brother. Let me tell you, whatever's in that contract, I assure you, Santino did not read anything past the first 3 lines. I get it. That's what the joke is clearly supposed to be. But I see what you're saying. It doesn't bother me because I'm like, I know he's supposed to be an idiot. But I do think there needs to be like a counterbalance, like for every R-Truth, there's a Miz. For every idiot heel, there is a Christopher Daniels. So I get what you're saying.
And then later on,
I meant elite idiot heel. Sorry.
Nice. And then later on, Santino is an idiot. Cardona meets backstage with Santino, says, hey, I went over the contract. This is great. But instead of us doing a one-on-one match, how about we do a 6-man? It'll be a mystery 6-man tag next week. It'll be the PCO wedding party versus 6 mystery opponents of my choosing, or 3 mystery opponents of my choosing, whatever it was. And then we'll do PCO versus Cardona at Emergence. I swear we'll do it. I swear. And he's buttering up. This is what I really don't like. It's Cardona buttering up Santino when Cardona has never been known to be a trustworthy character. And Santino is just playing an idiot. He's being a smarmy dickhead, which is good for the Cardona character. But then Santino is just playing idiot foil. And he's supposed to be the authority figure on the program. That's where I sit here and I'm just like, what? Why? Why isn't there anyone smarter here?
Yeah, no, I absolutely can see that issue. And I really do think in order for this to work, like you said, there needs to be some sort of counter, or there needs to be someone to be like, Santino, what are you doing? Be like, who was the one who was complaining about unsafe work conditions to Santino? Ali, Bully Ray. Heck, even Maclin was complaining about unsafe work conditions. I do feel, I understand, I see what you're saying, because in this case, you're very clearly getting worked. So it's going to be him and Steph DeLander, who just got married to PCO. The first question is, why isn't Steph DeLander on the other team with PCO instead of Zaya Brooks' side? Who is this mystery person? Why are you leaving it up to him? He took like 3 whole segments to look at Santino. Santino, please, Santino, please.
I'm not going to give the spoilers, but it is a fun tag team a fun 6-man melee of a match that's put together. Just the way we got here was very strange. PCO versus Cardona for Emergence. That's what we talked about. That's what we plan on. I'm still going with Steph DeLander sides with Cardona by the end of Emergence. By the end of that match. Pretty cut and dry. We'll see where it lands. Cardona saying last week, that she's my property was a little heavy-handed. I didn't love that, but again, for the sake of the story, I kind of get it.
I just think Santino needs to stop getting worked so bad. Somebody's got to step in. Somebody got to step in. Maybe he needs the octopus mask since it's retired.
I don't hate it. You know what? Give him the ink. Let Kushida be the GM. What do I care?
Kushida's not the voice of reason. Somebody's going to get misted.
Reasonable to me. This guy isn't going to be your GM. Steve Maclin's backstage, cuts a promo. He wants Eric Young, and that's a match we haven't seen yet in TNA. I love the prospect of this match. These two do so much for each other. These two have so much in common, and yet they are very different wrestlers and from very different times. I don't think people really understand how long Eric Young has been doing this. And Maclin, he isn't far behind, but there are several years between them when it comes to experience. I'm looking forward to that match. And he says that the Maclin is the new blood of TNA. EY is the start of the body stack en route to Maclin's world title ascent, which is great. And once again, check out my interview with Steve Maclin. We talk a lot about character development. We do talk about EY in our interview as well, by the way. So it's going to be good. You should go check that interview out. Go listen to him, because he's got a lot of really, really fun stuff to talk about when it comes to his wrestling experience and what he wants to do long term. What do you think of this whole Maclin package? He's coming back, isn't he?
I like this. And I do think it's a little unfair that you got to bother poor Eric Young, but at the same time, 2 angry wrestling dudes. Yes. Well, yes. And I was saying that last week that I really enjoy Maclin when he's like, I hate everyone. And now he's back to I hate everyone. So, well, yes. This match is going to be really good. I think the proper finish here is Maclin wins, but we, the fans, are going to win.
I'm on board for renewed heel Steve Maclin. Yeah. The tweener stuff is done. The what are we doing here? There was something going on. And like chat saying, both guys have something to prove. And they have something to prove in a very interesting way. EY being that grizzled veteran and Maclin being the guy who needs to get his career back on track to find himself in the world title position. There's good stuff.
It could go either way. Like, I wouldn't be mad at Eric Young winning. I wouldn't even be mad at Maclin winning. It could go either way. And we're still, like I said, we the fans win here.
Yeah, there's really good stuff there. So looking forward to that exchange and to that match. Gisele Shaw defeats Tasha Steelz. Of course, Steelz is a big old cheater, so the referees are all around the ring. I don't hate this, but what I do actually love is Matthew Raywalt's entire commentary around this match, because he's right. He's like, why are all the refs here? How is this different from anyone else who can just use the referee to their advantage to cheat? Why does she get made an example out of? all the referees are here. All the stars come out for this match. Frank Gastineau is here, and Paige Prinzavali is here, and Daniel Spencer is here. Anyway, all the referees are there. Steelz grabs a wrench, and Daniel Spencer catches her at ringside. Frank Gastineau catches Steelz trying to cheat with her feet on the ropes, and then Gisele Shaw gets the win with the denouement. She also had a sell job that was wild. The double knees that she caught from Tasha. It was a good match. It was a very quick match. That was kind of the theme of the night. Quick matches, because they had a 30-minute main event. But other than that, let's talk about it. Gisele Shaw, Tasha Steelz, your thoughts? That good.
I had to clear my throat. I didn't want y'all to hear me, on the mic. I don't know if this was a sell or whatever it was, but there was a part where Gisele Shaw flips Tasha Steelz up and over, and it looked like Tasha Steelz, literally, you could hear the cartoon sounds going bow off her head. I was like, oh my God, this girl is there. But Tasha got back up like, it's just a little nipple minungi, it's fine. I'm like, oh my God, this was a good match. Like you said, it was a short, quick match, and that sell job, again, with the double knees, that was nasty. That was nasty. Also, Gisele, I feel like that's her old music, because didn't she have new music recently?
Brother, I can't tell you.
Not brother? Not the brother.
This happened at Slammiversary. And I'm sitting there in this crowd, and I'm like, what theme are you using? Make up your goddamn mind. Make up your mind. This is and it's driving me nuts, because we did an interview with Gisele Shaw going into Slammiversary. We talked about her current, what her character was. Notice how all the shit with Gail Kim gone.
Yeah, I noticed that. So I was like, maybe Gail Kim is gonna come out in her corner.
They dropped it. I don't know what it was. I would love to know what happened, but they were doing something, and then suddenly they did nothing. They had the new music. They had the Eras gimmick. She was finding herself. She was billed from Northwest Territories. Then she was billed from somewhere else, and now she's billed from Windsor, which is where she lives. Something happened, and I don't love it, because you and I sit here and talk very highly of Gisele Shaw and say she's next up, but they are not giving us much to go on right now.
Now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, that's two things that were just completely dropped. And I didn't even notice Gail Kim just like Thanos snapping away. So now we've got Gresham, no longer Ink Master. We have Gisele Shaw, back to the original Gisele Shaw, but with all the fancy upgrades. So New Game Plus Gisele Shaw. I'm trying to think of who else. What else does Thanos snapped into the... Well, no, the Good Hands was fired by Ali. So I don't... Now I'm going to be thinking. Now, and I don't like when I think, because I'll get 2 and 2 makes 8. And then Neil deGrasse Tyson's going to read me to dust. If you know, you know.
Sometimes dropping a storyline is okay when it's beneficial. This is one of those times where I was like, wait, was Gail Kim doing this thing? And it was just like Gail Kim being like, that'll do, pig, that'll do. And then send her out into her space. It was not me calling Gisele Shaw pig. That's me using a very well-known.
It's a meme. It's a meme. Look it up.
It's from a book, for Christ's sake. Anyway, the point is, that's basically what they did. They just kind of, that'll do. And they left it. And I hope they go back to it with Gail. It really felt for a long time that Gisele and Gail were going to do something together, maybe in the ring or opposite each other. That is clearly not on the docket, at least not right now. Bound for Glory, they could pick it up again. Who knows? But they just kind of let it go. Someone mentioning, she's still called the quintessential knockout. Yeah, because she couldn't be called the quintessential diva anymore. That had taken its course. And we asked her in the interview as well. Like she's like, it's an evolution, and I get it, and that's fine. But a lot of the evolutionary stuff with Gisele Shaw has just kind of flown out the window, given the changes that have happened over the last year, not even like the last 8 months in TNA.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that she's bad in any sense of the term. I liked what we were doing before, and I'm complaining. That's the best way I could put it. I liked what we were doing before with Gail Kim, and I saw a vision there, and now my vision is just, that never happened. Stop asking questions. I'm like, well, I'm gonna ask some questions. I'm gonna still watch, but I'm gonna ask some questions.
Yeah. The System are backstage. They beat up Mike Santana, and then they come out to the ring, and Lish says, "Hey, Moose, you got the night off because Santana's not cleared, LOL." Santana comes out anyway, has the match versus Moose. It's a fine match. The whole thing is Santana's hurt the whole time, gets his little, he gets his spots in, he comes back, works mostly lower body, and then eventually hits spin the block, but then Moose rolls out of the ring after he hits it. They go back to the ring. Moose hits a spear, gets the win. As the System is about to lay out Santana, Joe Hendry comes out and says next week JDC and Moose face the returning Jeff and Matt Hardy in tag team action. What do you think of the match? What are we talking about with the System?
I have nothing but complaints.
All right, let's go.
Very clearly the System, you beat up Mike Santana. So to be like Ray Wall, you haberdashery, you should be a haberdasher, Ray Wall, because you had to, like, it was implied. These guys, they wouldn't even do that. The System still in the red, white, and blue.
That's egregious.
I have never felt so unpatriotic in my entire life that I looked up the opposite of patriotism. This is a joke, my FBI agent. It's actually traitorous. I wanted to commit treason in that moment. I wanted to put my red coat on. I'm sick of them. Take off the tracksuits. It's giving 1997 America at the Olympics. I hate them. I said I have nothing but complaints. Like, I was so upset at this match with them with the red coat. I wanted to put my red coat on. The USA, it's gotta go. It's gotta go. Lish is the only champion. This match was great. Poor Mike Santana. The match itself, no complaints. 10 out of 10 in the Tokyo Dome. Post-match. Nobody likes the System. How come nobody came out? Nobody came out? Joe Hendry, you wait till after Mike Santana gets jumped, after he's into the chair, to the steel steps, after they jumped him during the match? Nobody want to jump the System? This is the same problem I had with Jeff Jarrett. It's the same problem I had with you name a faction that are a bunch of heel jabronis, and it's a problem I have. Why do y'all come out 20 minutes after Mike Santana been thrown up, beat up? Where were you? What are you doing? What you doing? They're not shooting the fair one. Why are you shooting the fair one? I've had it. I like you, Joe Hendry, but you was writing your new song 10 minutes too late. He's already jumped. He already lost.
Well, Hendry was coming back from Orlando. They were in Tampa for TNA, and Orlando was where he had just driven back from for NXT.
I still said nobody got a problem with the System. The System don't got no enemies.
And that's what's really funny is Joe Hendry mentions in that promo, he's like, a lot of people don't like you either. And I'm like, yeah, so who are they going to have come out and join Hendry and set up an 8-man? And then it turned out to be, well, the Hardys are back. I'm like, oh, right. That's right. The Hardys are back.
I thought he was going to say the Nemeth brothers. And I was like, what's the math on that? When I think he said the Hardys, I'm like, okay, great.
Ain't doing that, but either way. Santana, though, I will once again, so damn good. And this is a babyface, of babyfaces. He is the 1A to Nick Nemeth being the top guy right now.
Yeah.
Santana's next guy. This is what's funny with Hendry, and I keep talking about this. Joe Hendry has entered this weird nebulous space where he is so popular in TNA, but he's also doing a lot of stuff in NXT where he's going for the NXT. Well, he's in a number 1 contenders match for the NXT championship on Tuesday. He's not challenging for the TNA title anytime soon. Emergence is we'll talk about that in a little bit. They've already set up, it's an Iron Man match for the world title. So that's going to be fun. So you've got, he can't really be 1A, at least in TNA world. It's very strange. That's how I'll leave it. But Santana absolutely is the guy. And we've been saying this for weeks. And this was a good experience. This was a good backup to what we've been saying. He gets over as a babyface in peril.
Yeah, I'm also going to piggyback on your Joe Hendry thing because I had a conspiracy theory. And it's okay to tell me I'm off base. I wish I still had my tinfoil hat. But it's interesting that Riley Osborne won the Ultimate X qualifying match. And Joe Hendry is in your number 1 contenders match for the NXT title. I'm just thinking now, to me, if we're trying to show goodwill towards one another, Why not have Mr. O'Reilly win the Ultimate X match? It'd be a gag. It would be a gag. And why not have one Joseph Henry win the NXT title? I know that sounds crazy, but wouldn't it show goodwill? Wouldn't it show the amazing goodwill that you have towards TNA? I know that sounds crazy, but it gets Joe Hendry out of the TNA title scene. It throws TNA into a tizzy. I think it'd be fantastic, but that's me. I know it's okay to burst my bubble, and I know that sounds crazy, but I think it would show goodwill. It would put the X division in like, hey, how is this guy in here? And that's just me. I'm sorry. That's just me.
Yeah, sorry, they're not going to do it.
I know it had a 2% chance. If you're hearing me, Mr. Michael.
For people who I feel like I'm saying this week after week, but I don't get to say it on the TNA post show, or I don't get to say it on the NXT post show or on a WWE post show. I get to say this on the TNA post show, where this is basically, this should prove, if you look at the numbers, that's what the numbers don't lie, Cresta Star. That's what it comes down to. TNA does not have the they don't have the leverage that NXT has, that WWE
Not that
has.
attitude.
Not with that attitude. Also, certainly don't have the numbers advantage either when it comes to contracts and money expended. The partnership is very whittled down very simply. NXT talent that WWE think are doing well but could be doing better and need some extra reps are going to TNA. And they're getting reps, and they're working in front of different crowds, and they're getting different experiences, and that is cool. And then TNA wrestlers that are coming into NXT and getting profiled and getting a solid opportunity at TV time, guess who's interested in them? Guess who's interested in the TNA stars as their contracts get amended and changed and moved and no, why not? There's always new talent, and there's always new ships to sail. That's wrestling.
True. I'm happy that we live in a time that anyone could go anywhere and make a good living for themselves. I say I don't like that. As someone who's grown to love TNA, I love some of the people that I know I could come on Thursday and watch them and see them there. I love that. But I always have the trepidation, because I've heard the stories of when Samoa Joe left, when AJ Styles left, how your whole top roster left. And it was kind of like the same thing when AEW started. You lost a lot of people too. And it's like, TNA, no. But at the same time, there's a lot of talent in TNA. And when one person leaves, you leave a gap and for someone else to shine. So in the one hand, I'm selfish. I want this for me. But on the other hand, it's like, go ahead, make your money, but I'm going to complain.
You're also talking about some people like Styles came into TNA from the get-go, and he worked there until he was, 12, 13 years into that company. He was a stalwart. He was there for a long time. He was ready to go, and things were starting to fall apart between TNA and AJ Styles. So for him to leave, that made sense. Mimosa Joe, same situation. Yes, I call him Mimosa Joe. It's a loving thing. I also call him Samosa Joe. Sometimes I call him Ragosa Joe. That's just the gimmick. Anyway, Mimosa Joe, his situation was also, he worked Ring of Honor in the early days. He got a lot of exposure in TNA, became one of their guys as well. And then it was time for him to move on. He went to NXT. He was offered something. He was offered a deal, and he wanted a deal that actually allowed him to go work Ring of Honor. And then NXT and WWE were like, yeah, how about you get an exclusive contract with us anyway? Because his first appearance was not under an NXT contract. He eventually got contracted by WWE, but he came in as a free agent. And the hope was that he was trying to create a new hybrid of availability when it came to, his time in WWE. I think when those examples are used, people assume that these are like brand new TNA stars that TNA made, but no, they had been around that company for a long time. And they had
learned something just now.
They approved everything they had to prove. They had careers. These guys and girls that they're currently looking at, it's a business that rotates. There is a lot of in and outs. There is a lot of changeover. People don't stay up on top the whole time, and if it's seen as it's not linear. And again, this is another example of the interview that I did with Maclin. We talked about his own career trajectory because we spoke in January. He just did the opening match on a pay-per-view, and then he was going into Slammiversary into the main event, and that was in 6 months. And so Nothing is linear in wrestling, but if you have a career trajectory, that's supposed to be going upwards, and it starts in one spot and then you move to another spot. Maybe it's MLW, maybe it's AEW, maybe it's WWE. You move up the card, and WWE is, for all intents and purposes, the pinnacle, financially speaking, for most that you can hit. And that's not a dig at any other company out there. That's just financially, and in terms of years around, they are the Kleenex. They are the brand.
Yeah, we say something similar. I said something similar on the Collision show where it's like, it's no shade to any other company, but a lot of people's dreams is pointing to that WrestleMania sign. And that's just really what it is. Like I said, I'm just being selfish. I want to see what I want in my show. Book for me, Cresta Star. Thank you very much.
Of course. But you know what? There's always ways to find all of those talent and keep up with them. So all of that to be said, Joe Hendry is in a very interesting and weird spot at the same time, because he is a star on both products, but he is not solidified on either as well. Going back to your what's going to happen with Riley Osborne and what's going to happen with Joe Hendry, to me, the Hendry thing is, I don't think if he wins and he goes on to No Mercy, Josh Alexander is going to cost him the NXT title. And that's that. If he doesn't go on to No Mercy, that's because Josh Alexander cost him in the match this coming Tuesday. We already know
You ain't never lie.
We already know that Wentz is going to take out Wesley on Tuesday because they have a match at No Mercy. That's official. And then on the other side, you could have Pete Dunne and Trick Williams, and they do a thing. But yeah, Emergence is 2 days before No Mercy, and those two shows are actually live. No one's taped the day before. So I'm just putting that out there. Just saying. So maybe there's an Iron Man match at Emergence. Maybe the guy who was slated at one point, penciled in to win the TNA World Championship at Slammiversary, maybe he's going to shock some people in an hour at Emergence. Maybe. And then maybe that guy is going to go on to Denver, Colorado to No Mercy and take out a Scottish guy who's in the main event. And maybe the NXT champion right now is a former tag team partner of his who has a lot of ego going on. So who knows? Colorado's a very high north elevation. So there you go.
I gotta tell you, I like all of that. I'm in, Morty. I'm in.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
I think I cut my swear limit, so I'm just censoring myself. I'm swearing a lot, so I'm in.
All good. Spitfire are backstage. They want Masha Alicia in a rematch for the Knockouts of World Tag Team titles. Safe to assume that's an Emergence, but no, it's not, because breaking news at Emergence is going to be a 6-woman tag. Jordynne Grace and Spitfire are going to take on Ash by Elegance and Masha Alicia. So that's a match that's happening. A shout out, by the way. Sending our love to Jody Threat, her dog Dodger, who was very much like her mascot, her best friend, her person, man. Dodger left today. Want to send our love to Jody because that's not easy.
Dude, Jody, you have our condolences, Betty.
Absolutely. So that's that. Spitfire are going to have a good showing for Emergence. They got a 6-woman tag. Jordynne Grace, Spitfire taking on Ash by Elegance and Masha Alicia. And of course, Jordynne Grace is like, I'm over with the meddling, blah, 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 blah. You want to fight Ash, you're going to get a fight. They'll have a fight. I'm sure it's going to be fine. Jason Hotch qualifies for Ultimate X, defeats Rich Swann and Ace Austin. Ace Austin hits the pin on this one. Skyler causes a distraction. Austin gets rolled up by Hotch. AJ Francis is on commentary. Let's hear it.
Men don't like this.
Which part?
I only don't like, okay, everything else in the match was fine. I don't like Ace Austin taking the pin here. And it would have been fine if AJ Francis didn't also help cheat, if Chris Bay didn't come out to have his back. I just feel having a champion eat the pin. It was alluded to on commentary because I thought it, but I didn't write it down. I didn't want to put it to fruition like, oh, so Ace Austin is taking the pin, because AJ Francis did say that him and Rich Swann had their eyes set on the tag team championships. So I don't I'm not saying that they wouldn't be a good heel team to go against. I just like ABCs. And as we know that I am biased. I am honest about my biases and I like the ABC. So that's my only complaint. The match itself was fine. Again, my quote of the night, Tom saying, "What did I do to deserve this?" It was fine. It was fine. Skyler winning. I mean, Jason Hotch winning. I know who's eating the pin now. It's Ultimate X match. Nobody eating the pin.
Nobody's the pin.
You still gonna get pinned. Somehow in a match where the pin is not the win, you're gonna get the pin.
Do you think that Skyler and Hotch are going to try and get themselves into a tag team title match because of this?
It wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, as much shenanigans as the Good Hands will do anything for $1. At this point, I think they would go to AEW, work with Jeff Jarrett, and be like, "Yo, what are you doing here? This is the wrong show." He said we could come.
Just imagine Turning Point in September. It's going to be, imagine it's Hotch, Skyler, ABC, Swann, and Francis for the tag titles.
I can because again, the good hands are good at being in places they have no business being. Like, "Yo, why are you here?" They said we could be here, bro. We're here.
Hotch winning the X Division Championship would also be hilarious because they'll try to hot potato the tag title, the X Division title.
We're gonna cash in our title for the tag team.
Oh, that's awful. They would do it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
They would be the best, worst, insufferable. It'd kind of be like, nah, that's different. That's different. It's like when Cody Deaner first did Viva by Design. Nah, because this is funny.
Yep.
Honestly, yes. He should win the Ultimate X. He should win the X Division title. He should cash it in immediately for the tag title, and everyone would be like, "Yo, what? We're gonna beat you up."
Speedball just wins it back and be like, "Well, that was a nice diversion, wasn't it?"
Do we have any new challenges for Speedball? Come to the front. Yes.
Well, we don't have a new challenger for the TNA World title because they went to a 30-minute time limit draw. Tom Hannafin heavily hinted at it. They said, "Well, we got 30 minutes left on the TV time, so who knows what this match will be?" And I'm like, you couldn't have hit it any more on the head, could you? Hey, Hannafin.
You swerved me because my mind is like, this isn't AEW. Either someone's cheating or we're done with this.
Far from it. An excellent match between Nemeth and Alexander. Nemeth's ability to still go is on display, which is good because he is your world champion, and he's older than most, but he's still very good at this. Knick-knack, paddywhack, time runs out for everyone. There was a knick-knack that led to that, so I got to use it. Nemeth tries to ask for 5 more minutes after this match, which again, very good. Go out of your way to see it. I'm sure that they will have the full match posted on socials in the next 20 minutes after we go off the air. It's guaranteed. And then Alexander rolls out of the ring, goes away, and then he gets chased down. Nemeth tries to chase Alexander, and Alexander then low blows Nick Nemeth when they get to the ring, then says, "Okay, now we'll do 5 more minutes," which I loved. I thought that was hilarious from Josh Alexander. Good heel bullshit, pardon my French. Grabs the world title, and like I said earlier in that promo from Nick Nemeth where he said he'll stand over Josh Alexander, well, Josh Alexander did that instead with the world title, saying it belongs to him. And then they go off the air saying, "How much are these two willing to endure?" And I said, "Oh, a 60-minute Iron Man match." And then they post the promo from Nick Nemeth. He's challenging Alexander to an hour. He doesn't say it, but TNA has it confirmed. TNA World Championship and Emergence, 1 hour Iron Man match. Josh Alexander, Nick Nemeth. Your thoughts on the 30-minute match, and your thoughts on a 60-minute Iron Man match at Emergence.
So the match was in 30 minutes. Because it ended at 9:58. We didn't start at 9:30, baby.
Stopwatch, Cresta, stop.
I don't care. There was time. Yeah, I was clock watching.
It was TV time. It's different.
TV time remaining means when I see the logo. Honestly, again, I don't care. Say what you want. I'm a mark. You got me trained, baby. I was trained for TV time, and that doesn't happen at TNA. So the fact that it happened, I was like, Josh Alexander, you healing it up. The fact that I've never seen Josh Alexander get booed in life, period. They hate Josh Alexander so much, they started chanting USA. Yo, USA don't even want to chant USA. That's crazy. This was great. Josh Alexander getting thrown back into the ring kicking him in the nuts. This is fantastic. I never thought I wanted to see a heel Josh Alexander in my entire life. The wrestling is still there. The ankle locks, I just kept saying, I'm just a sexy Kurt. I'll make your ankles hurt. Because no matter what Nemeth did, Josh Alexander's like, I'm going to stretch that ankle, baby. He is, dare I say, Josh Alexander's being a prick right now. And I live. Josh Alexander's great. Now, as far as a 60-minute Iron Man, oh, man, where is Ric Flair to say you don't know anything about 60 minutes in the bedroom or in the ring? This is going to be great.
I'm happy to not have Ric Flair on TV right now. I'm happy to never see Ric Flair again in my life.
You're right. But in this moment, somebody play the clip. We don't got to, you can use the old clip. We can use the old footage. We can AI it.
Pull his old TNA footage so that musty ass can say whatever he wants from the time he got paid to do it. Don't give him new money.
Okay, we'll pull the footage. We'll have a dramatic reenactment with the good hands. They're allowed to be here. They'll do it.
Sure.
This was great. This is great. I gotta say, heel Josh Alexander. I never knew if this is what people felt like when they were asking for heel John Cena. Well, god damn it, I got it. This is great. This is great. This is such good shit, pal. This is great.
Yeah, I'm still a huge fan of this whole Josh Alexander turn. Again, there's so much to be given and there's so much to be done, and it's fresh and he's doing a good job with it. You can tell that this is something he's going to have fun with, and it's new it's new waters for him. He's going to be able to let loose, because once you've been playing nice guy for so long, you've learned a few tricks. You've learned a few things you can say to turn it back on the audience, and that's going to be fun. So this is good. Nick Nemeth is pure white meat babyface as well, so this is a good challenge for him. It's going to be a strong match. Again, they gave you the 30 minutes. I as a guy who has to talk about it, I'm not wild on having to talk about a 60-minute match, because that sometimes can be a little arduous, because you're talking about moves in the ring. And I know I don't love to talk about moves in the ring unless it's impactful. And when you're doing 60-minute Iron Man match, not as impactful unless there's like 100 falls in the course of that hour or whatever. You know, I'm exaggerating. That being said, I know both these guys are going to put on a great show, and the story will be in the ring and it will be very well told. So I'm looking forward to the match. I'm just not looking forward to trying to talk about it during a post show. And that's not a knock, again, on doing the match.
I'm ready for the storyline. I get what you're saying about the 60-minute, but I'm ready for I sound like such a nerd, but I don't care. I'm ready for the in-ring story, because the physicality, the storyline itself is there. You brought in my family. Josh Alexander, I gotta tell you, him looking down and then kicking this man in the nuts was just like, I don't care. I've learned from Moose. I don't care. It's great. It's so great. No matter who wins here, we the fans win. And I can see justifiably Nemeth winning, justifiably Alexander winning. I'm here for either or. And all props and all credit to Nick Nemeth, because he's playing his part perfectly. He is not letting Josh Alexander being a piece of shit outshine his baby face. And I think that's very important, especially when someone just turns heel or face. Sometimes they can outshine their dance partner. But Nemeth being wily, Nemeth being cagey, Nemeth like, I'm not backing down. Like you said, the knickknacks out of nowhere were fantastic. I don't know how this is going to go, but I am sports entertained and I'm sports intrigued. An hour, we'll see. Even if you cheat, it doesn't matter. Even if you cheat.
You can get DQ'd in an Iron Man match. You just lose a fall. And that's fun. There are good stories you can tell. It's still a traditional match.
Am I stupid? How does an Iron Man match work? You got whoever has the most pins at the end.
Yeah, the most amount of falls, whether that's a pin submission or you can get DQ'd. And if you get DQ'd, your opponent gets a point, gets a fall.
I thought it'd be a no DQ match. No, not all Iron Man matches are DQ.
Go back and watch Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle from SmackDown. It's an episode of SmackDown.
My brain doesn't go back that far.
I think it's 2004, 2006. Go back and watch. You'll see.
Okay.
You'll see.
I will take a look at that, because I think Kurt Angle, for me, is one of those people that don't get talked about enough. We talk about some of the greatest in-ring performers of all time. People like to talk about Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn. I think Kurt Angle needs to be a part of that conversation, but that is just me, and that is just me.
And that was TNA Impact for August 15th, 2024. We're going to be back here next week as we always are. The week after that, and an Emergence is at the end of the month, and we'll be back for that when it's live on the 31st. Is it the 30th or the 31st? Regardless, it'll be one of those 2 dates. I'm sorry. It's the end of my night. It's been a long day. I've been up since 6 o'clock. Cresta Star, what you got going on?
Not a working set of headphones, apparently. Hi, guys. My name is Cresta Star. On Thursdays and Saturdays, you can find me here on Fightful doing wrestling stuff. I don't know why I'm reading it like that or I'm saying it like that. I do wrestling.
No, you should do it.
Here.
You should sing it while you're at it. By the way, Emergence is on the 30th. That's a Friday night.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Pearl said I should sing it, so I'm going to do it. Blame him. Every Thursday, you should catch me here on Fightful. It's really great. It's really cool. We talk about TNA. Me and Joe Pearl all day. On Saturday, me, Iridian, and Rick. We talk about Collision. Show up. Don't be a... If you like Cresta Star, follow me on Twitter. It's Cresta the Star, because Cresta Star got banned. If that's too much and you can't pay attention, there is a link tree in my bio. You should click it. And there are all my socials, links to everything that we just talked about. I love you, Joe Pearl. I'm done.
You almost did a key change in the middle of that. You almost did the modulation.
Listen, I don't know where I was going. At first, I had a song in my head, and I was like, just get through this.
Fair enough. Best $5 in the business is FightfulSelect.com. If you haven't already checked it out, go. We got news on All In Texas. We got news on MLW signing Janai Kai, the latest on the Lucha Bros, and plenty more. Plus, Sean drops Q&As, lots of news. The Weekender podcast with our pal Steven Jensen, who joins us for the pay-per-views that TNA puts on. But until then, I'm in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Fightful Overbooked. That's our sister channel. Go check that out. For Cresta Star, I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.